How bad does crime have to get in the United States before we finally reopen Alcatraz? On today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, Trump is floating out the idea of bringing the Rock House back to America for the worst criminals. We're breaking down the ridiculous H.R. 867 bill that tries to crush free speech in America. We're going to break down everything that happened at the Barstool Sports bar in Philadelphia over the weekend, how the Trump administration is now paying $1,000 to illegals willing to self-deport, and Elon Musk explaining how the government finally has a verification process for payments in the government. All that and much more coming up on today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. This is episode 49. Our first topic is lawmakers in California proposing that pedophiles be given child sex dolls so they aren't tempted to act on children. I know this sounds just as ridiculous when I'm saying it as you hearing it. I'm going to play this short clip for you guys. It's a short TikTok, talks about the bill, and it shows a clip of a California lawmaker talking about it, and then we'll talk about how terrible this is.
The California government now wants to pass a bill that would allow predators to own child-like blow-up dolls.
But there are what they call minor attracted persons. For people who are attracted to minors, that these dolls actually decrease their proclivity to go out and attack children.
California government officials held a conference where they discussed passing a bill that would allow predators to own childlike blow-up dolls. Arguments were made for the passing of this bill. These statements for arguments of the passing of this bill has garnered controversy from commenters online. Commenters claim that this is what happens when God is taken out of America, and that this is a terrible idea if this bill passes. But what do you think about the situation? Do you think this bill should be passed? Comment your opinion down below.
This is something that has already been shot down in California, so it's not anything anyone has to worry about. But what you do have to worry about is the lawmakers in office who even floated this idea out in the first place. Those people should not only be on a watch list, but they should immediately be removed from their respective government positions. No one in the government should be insinuating that pedophiles should get anything besides jail time or a bullet in the head. It is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever heard. I don't understand why anyone sympathizes with pedophiles, especially the state of California. They love to call them minor attracted people instead of just calling them what they are. I do want to go on to our next topic today. This is a pretty crazy one. Trump's thinking of opening Alcatraz. I think this is a great move, putting the worst criminals back into the worst prison. Why should we mix? I understand there's different levels of prisons for different things, but why don't we have a separate prison that's extremely hard to break out of, where the conditions are not great, for the worst kinds of criminals we have, rapists, murderers, in the United States? I think this is something that most Republicans would support. If it's financially doable, it is something that Donald Trump should do, even if they can't bring back Alcatraz specifically. Maybe it's building a new prison. Maybe it's bring back a different old one. I think having a specific prison for these worst kinds of criminals, one that has terrible conditions, very hard to escape from, super maximum security, is essential for the success of the country. We are one of the only countries that doesn't have something like this. We used to. We got rid of it. And it's time we bring The Rock back. I am very excited that Donald Trump tweeted this out yesterday. I think a lot more Americans are excited about this and will continue to be excited about it as more time goes on as well. This brings us to some of our other topics. This one really upset me. A lot of conservatives and Democrats are standing out against this in a bipartisan movement. But the bill H.R. 867, it would have expanded federal anti-boycott laws to punish Americans who participate in foreign-backed boycotts, mainly targeting Israel. So penalties would be up to $1 million and 20 years in prison. This got major backlash from the left, from the right, a huge bipartisan movement against this bill. Marjorie Taylor Greene has confirmed that the bill will be pulled, but the fact that someone can get 20 years in jail for boycotting is one of the most anti-American things I've ever heard. It should never have been proposed on the American congressional floor. The fact that it was by someone from New York should be investigated. That person, nobody should ever vote for them again. People need to pay a lot more attention to the votes that their representatives cast out, because a lot of people just vote Democrat or Republican on the ticket and they don't actually look at the specific policies of these people who aren't the president or the vice president. But it's very important because you have people like this who are trying to ban boycotting and free speech in America for no reason. That would be extremely unpatriotic, something I'm very much against. I think everyone in America should be against that, and I'm very glad that bill is getting pulled. It is completely unconstitutional. I do want to go on to a few of our last topics today. We only have 3 more topics. This one is another upsetting and ridiculous one. Dave Portnoy sounded off on social media this weekend after a waitress brought out a sign that said "F the Jews" at his Philly Barstool bar. Dave Portnoy is an extremely successful entrepreneur in the United States. He's a Jewish individual as well. He has every right to be offended that at one of his bars, a bottle service girl came out with the sign that said "F the Jews." This was something that the customer requested. Dave Portnoy has been in contact with the waitresses at the bar and with the customers who ordered this. The waitresses have since been fired. Dave Portnoy was very loud about that on social media, that one of them specifically was one of the dumbest people he said he's ever talked to in his life. And then the 2 individuals in the video, Dave Portnoy is sending them on an all expenses paid trip to Auschwitz so they can actually see the horrors that Jewish people did endure during the Holocaust. Dave Portnoy originally posted a video where he was heated, mad, yelling, and then a couple hours later posted another video where he explained that he will be sending the guys on a trip to Auschwitz to see the history of the Holocaust. I think the fact that he's taking an educational stance is extremely mature. A lot of people would just rip these people, try and ruin their lives forever. Dave Portnoy specifically said that they're younger kids, they were drinking. I don't want to ruin their lives forever, but I do want to educate them. So I think that more people should follow Dave Portnoy's footsteps when it comes to cancel culture. Education is always more important than public shaming. Obviously, there are instances where people say things that are beyond terrible, but for the most part, we can focus on educating people instead of trying to ruin their lives over a mistake they made when they were drinking, when they're younger, or whatever the reason may be, even if it is something that seems fairly unexcusable, like holding up a sign that says "F the Jews." I think that is something that is terrible that these individuals did. I want to go on to our 2 last topics. The Trump administration announced they are starting a program offering $1,000 for travel expenses to illegal immigrants who will voluntarily self-deport out of the United States. They claim it costs about $17,000 to forcibly deport one person, so paying $1,000 is a lot cheaper. They took the CBP One app that the Biden administration made famous for sneaking illegals into the country and made it the CBP Home app to get assistance to remove these illegals from the country. They can now download it to self-deport, where they won't have to face criminal charges, and they could possibly be let back into the United States again. That's one of the biggest benefits to self-deporting over government deportation. If our government has to go out of their way to deport you, the chances of you getting back into this country are next to 0. If you self-deport and show that you're willing to follow our laws, then America is a lot more willing to accept you back into this country. America does not have to just allow the entire third world into the country. We're allowed to vet the people we allow into this country. That's what our immigration system is for. So if you illegally broke into this country, breaking our immigration laws, you now have a chance to course correct, follow the laws, and be allowed back in legally over time if you don't commit crimes and you are able to assimilate into American culture. I do want to go on to our last topic today. In a recent interview with Elon Musk, they have now announced they've set up a online payment verification system for the Treasury. I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. The way our Treasury system used to work is people could write basically blank checks, and no matter what, they would cash. Our Treasury did not ask for reasons why people were spending money. They didn't have to verify anything, and even if they made up a reason, there was no verification behind, oh yeah, this person is actually doing these things with the money that they're supposed to. Elon Musk set up a online verification processor with his Doge team, and now they've already blocked next to $500 million in false payments. This is an amazing step for the federal government for spending for the future of the American taxpayer and the economy. This is something that would put money back in our pockets, saving our tax dollars where it's necessary, not spending them on government waste, fraud, and abuse, not lining the pockets of NGOs and bureaucrats and all the people who are stealing all our tax dollars that our Doge is now discovering and finding out all the terrible things they have been doing. It's really sad how long our federal government has gotten away with wasting our tax dollars. There was just a study showing they shut down a lab that had been killing beagles for 30 years. You cannot find one American who would support killing baby beagles to do studies for the American government. It's not necessary in any way. Why would you pick one of the cutest dog breeds as well? I don't understand that. It's very upsetting the way our government has handled everything financially over the last few decades, and we should all be very grateful we have somebody like Elon Musk heading up Doge and taking this head on. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 49 of America Unfiltered. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.